What's up, you awesome geeks? I'm Brian, this is The Smuggler's Room, and this week in The Smuggler's Room, we're dealing with a bit of a problem. You see, we've had sort of an outbreak of alien facehuggers around here. And sadly, not all facehuggers are as nice as my friend Harry is here.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
And you have to deal with the problem. Now you could bust out a pulse rifle, shoot him up, but then you gotta deal with the whole acid for blood thing, and that tends to ruin the furniture. You could put him in a containment system, but I promise you, your Aunt Ethel's gonna show up, have too many martinis, knock it over, and now you've got a big problem on your hands. So the way I see it, the only way to solve it is to put these guys in carbonite. That's right, I said it. Alien facehuggers in carbonite. That's what we're doing today, and it starts right now.
All right. So we've got our box. Okay. It's ready to go. Put the front in. Hey, don't look at that. Hey, I said don't look at that. I make mistakes too. Like that was a mistake. I fixed it. Look. See? All better. Like nothing happened. Let's move forward here. Move forward. Now the next step is to take our lovely fresh caught stunned friend here and get him into the carbonite position. So you can see that the challenge is the carbonite box is a lot smaller than our little friend here. I like this size of box. It doesn't get too big. It hangs on the wall neatly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get him attached down flat. So this angle works really well. And then we got to take these individual fingers and we're going to lay them in to the box so that we can submerge him slightly. And now we have all the holes drilled so we can do a test fit. Make sure everything is going to go as planned. Okay, now we've got to deal with the tail section, and what we want is for this to slope like it's going in. Okay, we're going to use a crap ton of epoxy to glue this thing down. Okay, so I made a quick change off camera. I was showing my lovely wife this, and she asked about the tail. And so what I did was I popped a hole in, and now what we're going to do is set this tail up so it's kind of curled, and then we'll have this section kind of out and away. Because the tail, like she said, is an integral part of this. So yeah, I think that really helps. Okay, we're going to do our first pour, and after doing several carbonite builds, the good old-fashioned white Elmer's glue is kind of my favorite. I've done them in wood glue, but the white glue works pretty well. The glue's been setting for quite a while, and this is when a palette knife comes in really handy. This is just a plastic one, but you kind of work the different pools of glue so that they're not so pooled. And then I'm taking some of the excess and kind of dripping it on the actual face hugger. But it's that inconsistent pooling that actually makes this look right. So like as it gets harder, you have to move it around. The problem is you have to kind of do it quite a bit in order to give it the right look. And then that way tomorrow, as it cures, we'll be able to do more layers on top of it. It's a strange process, but if you don't do that, if you don't give it this like weird streaky look, then it actually just looks pooled. And when you look at the actual movie prop, like the Haunted Carbonite, it requires this, otherwise it just doesn't look right. Our PVA glue, the Mod Podge or the Elmer's glue has dried. So now we can actually see a little bit of what the texture looks like. I do see some of the texture from dripping in on the face hugger itself. We've got some interesting things like some pulling and webbing there, a little separation of things right here. But overall, I want more texture on the face hugger. And the PVA glue is a little thin, so it runs down. What we're going to use instead is some 5-minute epoxy. And we're going to create some pools and some different interesting looking spots. Now all of our various layers of glue and epoxy have dried. So we got a couple of fun little things like this little drip here that's connected, another drip off to the side, and everything looks like it's ready for us to go ahead and give it an entire gray primer. So let's do that. Okay, so we are going to take a next step here with a little bit of liquid latex. So we sprayed everything silver. Now granted, the alien itself here, we're going to leave that silver because then we're going to come in with some other colors and washes to get this carbonite look correct. But on the box itself, I'm going in a different direction than a traditional carbonite box. And in order to do that, I also want to have some weathering on the edges here. So by using the liquid latex along the edge, once we apply the top layer color, we'll be able to peel that off and you'll be able to see the metal underneath, if you will. Yeah! Alright, it's painted. Let's peel. Let's see if I screwed up the actual... Oh, it doesn't look like I got any white in there. Did I mask this correctly? Oh, yes. Yes, we did. It's a Christmas miracle. Alright. And now, all those little areas that we added... all those little areas we added the liquid latex, we can start to peel that back and expose the wear and tear, specifically on places like right here, on these corners. There we go. Now we got to do some weathering. Gotta do some weathering. That's how this carbonite stuff starts to pop. So I got a little water mixable oil paint. We're gonna go a little thick with it, and then we'll come in with a paper towel and a little water, and we'll start to thin it out. And really what we want to do is we want to capture all the ridges of all the different carbonite texture that we put in with all the glue. And we're gonna have to do this in various layers and different amounts of water until we get what we're looking for. But you can see already now we've got some darker ridges in here, and it helps the detail pop out. And that's really the whole point. We want the detail of the carbonite to show through, and we want to dull down the silver color a bit. So traditionally on a carbonite box, these areas here, these recesses, would have a Volvo panel. These are the Volvo panels, and the reason we call them that is because they actually came out of a mid-80s Volvo dashboard that they flipped on its back and then used them to create the panels alongside the Hahn and carbonite. Now for ours, it's alien themed. So I wanted to do something that was a little less Star Wars, and designed several panels for the side. Now I know what you're saying, that is not Star Wars at all, and that's okay because this is alien themed. So I took the concept of this from the image you're seeing now from the new Alien Romulus movie. And my idea was we could give it a little bit of a different look, put something totally unique to this box. So we have this large one here. There's also another large one on the other side, which is this, which is just slightly varied between this piece here and this. These are both, this whole kit is available on our website if you want to download the STLs, because we also have these small boxes here. So the concept is, obviously, you put the big panel here, and we're going to put the little panels here, and then we're going to do some semiotic standards with this, and I'll show you that in a bit. But the first thing we need to do is kind of clean up these prints. They're done on a resin printer. For the most part, they're really clean, but they do have some print lines, and then there's some divots and things like that from the supports. So let's clean those up. We'll get them painted. We'll get them installed. Okay, my friends, it's time to get these guys all detailed. So we sanded it, and I hit it with primer and a little white, and then we sealed it. And now we're going to go ahead and do the weathering and detail work on all this. The nice thing about the white color is that it'll pick up really great weathering. And so I've got a little bit of the water mixable paints here. I've got a little burnt sienna and some just Mars black. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow all these lines. So basically these recesses where dirt and grime would accumulate. There's several little details we want to do with this. First up is we need to do some electronics. All right, just two more. I want to add some details in these little coves, and I have these little aluminum pieces with these really cool details on them. They're actually from a little AT-AT Walker puzzle. It was like a metal puzzle that I got, and actually the pieces are more interesting to me than the puzzle, so we're gonna go ahead and put these in. Ah! Oh, dang it. Okay, I had lots of problems with that. Kind of made a mess, so I found this little piece in my Greebly bin. We're gonna put that right in this spot right here, and then that'll add for a nice little bit of something. And there it is, it's installed. Here's all the details. We're gonna do a little more weathering on this, and then we've got to deal with this space. One of the things we have to talk about is this screen area. I'm going to go with a traditional checkered display that'll slide in the back here. and then we'll illuminate it and give it some backlighting. This is similar to what you see on the Han and Carbonite panels, so that helps kind of tie the two things together. On this panel, however, I wanted to do something a little bit more alien reference. So I took one of the semiotic standards, which is this pattern right here, which is actually a hazard warning design that you see in a lot of the Nostromo from the original Aliens. And then what we'll do is we'll drop that into here, and we'll recess it slightly, and then we'll backlight that as well. We'll also paint this kind of, this pattern here, we'll paint that red. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, so now I'm just gonna peel it off. All I did was hit it with an airbrush, and then I can peel free the top layer paper. And if we're lucky, we won't have any leakage. Ah, there we go. And then the rest of it, we're just gonna leave the white color. And once we light it up, it should get a nice, respectable glow. I mentioned that this symbol right here is part of the semiotic standards. And I'm showing you an image here now of basically the table from the films. There's several of them that indicate no gravity beyond this door, no pressure beyond this door, and so forth. So for something like an alien facehugger in Carbonite, we needed our own unique symbol. This is my symbol for Carbonite. So it's the little dude inside a Carbonite box. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put him in to these. Now, you haven't seen these yet. These fit in the top section of our Carbonite box. And obviously you're thinking, well, we've got two of those, so what do we do in this one? Well, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't have our own little Weyland-Yutani for the opposite side. And that's how both of those will sit. I'm gonna do my best to explain this, and I know it looks a little messy. It's not as clean as I typically do things, but I'm using our friend Jamie Dole's outer rim lighting system for this. A microcontroller that he pre-programs for you, and then through all of these various connections, he sets things to always on, very fast, very slow, and so on. It's a whole bunch of automation. So what that allows is for you just to simply land the various LEDs to however you want them to function. Now, what I've done here with this bus block is I've taken all of the lighting that I have that is just going to remain on, specifically the white lighting or the warm lighting that you're seeing for all our various panels. That all gets landed on a bus block. All the grounds get tied together. And then the bus block is attached to this lead. There's a positive and negative, so you can take the ground to all of your grounds. And then the positive goes to the bus block, and it's all powered off of this 12-volt power supply. And with that being said, I think we're ready to take a look at the final result of this build. Now you might be asking yourself, is that really the best way to deal with an outbreak of facehuggers? And I'll tell you that's exactly the best way to deal with an outbreak of facehuggers. Not to mention we got to do an Aliens and Star Wars mashup, and that happens to be one of my favorite things to do. And if you liked this type of Aliens content, we've queued up an entire playlist right here for you for your alien enjoyment. And we'll see you the next time we build something out of nothing.